You're watching Good Evening San Diego.
And the fast food industry is also seeing a large loss of jobs. This is according to a new trade report, since the new fast food minimum wage increase of $20 per hour went into effect back on April 1st. Meantime, California has also seen a loss of about 10,000 jobs as a result, we're being told. Joining us now to talk a little bit more about this is employment attorney Annie Ellis. Annie, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Logan, good evening. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. So what are you seeing here locally in the fast food industry as a result of this $20 fast food minimum wage?
Well, you know, it's all nice in a vacuum, right? Paying people more money, and that means everyone makes more money, but that's not what's happening. Is we're seeing businesses close. We're seeing jobs get eliminated in anticipation of this rule taking effect. We had Domino's lay off something like 1,200 in-house delivery drivers. They're just going to contract that out to DoorDash now. The big news in the last couple of days, of course, is Rubio's. We don't get a lot of San Diego-based companies or brands anymore, and everyone loves a good fish taco, and this one's been around for decades here in San Diego as a staple. They're shuttering a third of their business, and a lot of those locations are in San Diego. We're seeing a big pivot to food robots and self-service kiosks. In other words, I'm not paying someone $20 an hour. I'm going to go ahead and just get a device that can do that job for you. The $20 an hour minimum wage increase only works if you actually have the job, and right now that's having the opposite effect.
So is it your sense that because of the minimum wage increase, that's why we're seeing all these issues?
It is. I mean, I can't put all my eggs in one basket on that particular rule, and here's why. California is tough no matter what on a business. So there's a lot of other reasons why it's difficult to do business here in California, but this is the final straw. I mean, you can only hike up prices and pass that off to the consumer so much. No one's going to pay for a $20 Big Mac or a $20 double-double. And I don't know if you've checked prices recently, but they're all going up. And, you know, we're seeing a reduction in paid time off and other voluntary benefits. We're seeing reduced hours. And overall, I think this is something that's just going to be damaging for this industry.
Are you seeing an impact on non-fast food businesses as a result of this new law? I'm trying to figure out, you know, is somebody making $16 trying to get that job to make 20, or maybe somebody got laid off making 20 is now trying to find a job for as close as they can?
Great question. It has a trickle-down effect, and the biggest one is on the restaurant industry. So they're not covered by the fast food law, but that's comparable type work and a similar workforce. So what we're seeing is, well, you're paying me minimum wage to wait tables here, or, you know, run a market or something like that. How about I just hop over to McDonald's and I can make $20 an hour, or maybe even 22 or 23. And of course, it's not just the minimum entry-level wage. That's going to push all the wages above it up. And if you have a salaried manager, that's a minimum of $83,200 if you're going to keep that manager on a salary basis. That's huge. That's over $17,000 higher than the state requirement.
I mean, what's your sense of what happens as we move forward with this? Do they just kind of let the chips fall where they may, or do they have to reassess what they've done with this new law?
Well, California doesn't really have a good history, at least in this area, of saying, oops, we did that, that was bad. And here it was bargained for between the workers and the industry itself. So going back to, you know, how this law came about, the very first version in 2022 was very, very aggressive, and it was challenged in court, and so the parties came to the table. So I think what we're going to see is just the continue to pivot, the new normal, kind of like we did during the pandemic. How do you get everyone remote? Well, how do you minimize the labor costs? And that's unfortunately going to result in a reduction of jobs.
Yeah, and maybe with AI, we're going to be seeing more of these robots and kiosks, which is what you mentioned earlier. Annie, good to see you. Annie Ellis for us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Logan. Have a good night.
Okay, you too.